All right, guys, welcome to our second session called Proof in the Paint. And our goal for this session is to ask the question, is it reasonable to believe that God exists? And in this session and in the next session, I'm going to present you with two different arguments. The arguments are the first cause argument and the design argument. In the first cause argument, my goal is to help you understand how the scientific fact that our universe has a beginning brings us to the conclusion that there must be a God, and that our faith helps us to understand why God created the universe. In the design argument, my goal is to show you how the scientific realities of the created world brings us to the intellectual conclusion that God exists and it creates with a purpose, and it was created with a purpose and a plan. So let's get started with that first cause argument. The fact that a piece of art exists proved that there must be an artist. There was someone who set up a canvas, they selected the paint colors, they took out paintbrushes and made the painting. But none of them would look at a piece of art and think that somehow it created itself, that it would not make sense and it would not be impossible. In the same way, when we look at our universe, it's illogical to conclude that it made itself. In fact, there are very significant scientific findings that uphold the theory of our universe having a finite beginning, so it is logical to think that something or someone outside of the universe brought it into being. Everything in our world has a beginning. Human life, plants, animals, songs, movies, and our days. We usually measure things from their beginnings. From how old we are to how long a movie is, to maybe how long our school days are, how long summer vacations are, and the list could go on and on. So I'm going to share with you some of my facts of beginnings in my life. So for example, my life began in January 1985. I just turned 36. One of my favorite movies begins with 007, James Bond. He's in pursuit of a mercenary who stole a hard drive that contains details of undercover agents. Bond is not successful in capturing the mercenary, and the mercenary escapes with the hard drive. And normally from that point we cue the theme music. My favorite song of choice right now begins with "You Are Here," moving in our midst. And my first day of middle school, which was a private school, began with me catching up with people that I didn't see all summer. Everything in our universe has a beginning and something or someone that caused the beginning. So like the list I just gave you that I mentioned earlier, my parents caused my life. The creators of the movie or the song that I mentioned caused the movie or song to exist. Me finishing one grade and moving to the next caused the beginning of middle school. So everything relies on something else for existence. Every human being came from another human being. All mammals came from other mammals. Even animals that lay eggs depend on that egg being laid to come to an existence. I'm going to get a little detailed here into the science, but just kind of bear with me, because I want to make sure that we understand these different types of arguments, because a lot of people question whether or not God exists, and it's important that if we are going to make that decision on our own, that we understand the true meaning and understand what we're actually saying. So it is scientifically impossible for anything in our world to come into existence on its own from nothing. There is not a single element in our universe that does not have something, even the smallest atoms, that in some way cause it to exist. There are very compelling scientific theories that point to our universe having a beginning, a moment that it came into existence. And these theories are shown through different empirical evidence pointing to things like gravity, general relativity, cosmic microwave, background radiation, the density matter of energy in the universe, gravity waves, quantum disturbances, and then so forth. And all these items that I'm mentioning you are they're based off of writings from an author named Trent Horn. He wrote Reflections on the Latest Big Bang Discovery, and he wrote this in April 2014. So these are things that other people have reflected on and have done extensive research into. On a side note, the beginning of the universe, it's often referred to as the Big Bang Theory, which was coined by a Catholic priest. His name is Father, I hope I say this correctly, Father Le Metenier, who worked closely with Albert Einstein. The theory was originally mocked by those who thought that the world had always existed, but in 1965, proof of cosmic radiation from the actual Big Bang proved that the universe, in fact, has a beginning. This theory does not contradict Catholic teaching, but rather it affirms it for us. The Big Bang Theory was affirmed by Pope Pius XII in his address to the Pontifical Academy of Sciences, and that was done back in 1951. So there is strong evidence that our universe has a finite beginning, and everything that has a beginning has a cause for that beginning. And then we can logically wonder what caused our universe to exist. St. Thomas Aquinas, he created 5 different arguments for the existence of God. And for one of them, which is called the argument from efficient cause, explains how everything that exists has an efficient cause, which means something that has something else that caused it to exist. He also argued that there is no first cause. The universe coming into being, without it coming into being, there could be no second cause, such as all the life around us that depend on a cause or a beginning. So there must be a beginning or a first cause, and this first cause must be God, who has no beginning. And you can find more information about that if you're wanting to do more research. Peter Kreeft wrote a book called The Fundamentals of Faith, which talks about the first cause argument. So since everything that exists was brought into existence by something outside of itself, then we can reasonably conclude that there must be something or someone outside of time and space that created the universe. This cause for the existence of the world would have to be outside of time, because when the universe began, time began, and this being would also have to be outside of space because it created space. So just like we did not create ourselves, but someone separate from us, our parents, brought us into being, or an egg does not create itself, but the chicken, who is separate from it, laid the egg. Through these scientific findings, we can use logic and philosophy to come to the conclusion that the creator of everything that exists must be existence itself. Excuse me. Something that does not have a beginning, but simply is. The supreme being that is existence itself, that is separate from time and space, is who we actually call God. Through science, we can know that these facts about the beginning of the universe, and, using our intellect, we conclude that there must be something or someone who is outside of the universe to cause it to begin and exist. We can learn these facts, but science alone cannot answer the questions, why does the universe exist at all? Generally, music is a way for musicians to express themselves and share their thoughts of what they love. It is also a way for them to create and share something that they believe is meaningful and beautiful. St. Thomas Aquinas, I'm going to keep referring to him, but St. Thomas Aquinas once said that creatures came into existence when the key of love opened his hand. In a similar way, Scripture and the teachings of the Church reveal to us that God created the world out of love and goodness because he wanted to, and he created the world good and beautiful. The world was not created by accident. It was not a mistake, but it was a plan of our God, who is so good and loving that he desired for it to be, and it was. So our faith shows us the why of creation, and that there is meaning for existence, and behind it is an all-powerful, all-loving, all-knowing God. Scripture, the Bible, if you're reading the Bible, Scripture is also filled with stories of our God, who from the beginning created with plan and purpose to reveal his great love and glory. And we too are a part of this story. That's my thoughts on this topic. And so let's go ahead and pause. Let's focus on our small group reflection, and then we'll review in the next video a few more things. Thanks.